Hey fish friends, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Zenzo with Tazawa Tanks. Today I'm going to do a couple of things. I want to talk about a fish that I keep, that I've been keeping for a long time, that I'm having problems with. It's to the point where I'm kind of like giving it one more try, almost giving up. You're going to see in a second what's going on. I've talked about this fish before. And then also I thought that it would be fun to kind of walk around this room and show you a little bit more behind the scenes. The last time I filmed in here and made a video, I had shown you kind of the reveal of my new desk setup. I still have the upstairs office that I do use every day. Usually what I'll do is I'll wake up in the morning, I'll start my day up there in that office, just because it's kind of early in the morning and the lights aren't on and everything down here. So if it's 7:30 or 8 in the morning, I'm not coming down here into the fish room. And I'll do my first couple of hours or so up there, take meetings, and then I'll come down here around 10:30 or so in the morning and work the remainder of the day down here. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm gonna go ahead and take the camera off the mount here, and let's go look at those fish that I'm talking about and the problems that I'm having, that I have had, having still, you'll see. So here we are over here at the 60 breeder, and this is just kind of like a South American community tank. I've got a couple of Apistos in here. I've got some Cardinal Tetras. I've got a bunch of Corridoras in there. There's a bunch of Sturbai Corridoras. And there's actually, I think I have like an Emerald Corridor in there as well. It's kind of a leftover from another batch from years ago. But there's a whole bunch of fish in here. But what I want to talk about are the Amazon puffers. Now, I do have two Amazon puffers in here. If you're familiar with this channel, you've seen them before. And you may recall that I had an issue with one of them not eating snails, and its beak continued to grow and grow and grow. Now, if you're not familiar with puffers and their beaks, most puffers, I think with like the exclusion of pea puffers, they have essentially a beak or their front teeth that continually grow, and they need to be ground down, meaning they need to eat foods that are hard, like crustaceans and mollusks that they can crunch on, and it will file their teeth down. In fact, down below here, we have this beautiful green spotted puffer, and he loves to chow down on snails and pretty much anything that hits a tank. So you can see down below all those snail shells. Those are all empty snail shells or pieces of shells that this guy has just munched on. Let me change the ISO here to auto. So, whoop. There we go. So now we're at ISO auto. But anyway, you can see that here, super healthy. And if we can, let me see if I can get closer. I'm using a wide angle lens, so we may not be able to see, but I'll get some B-roll later with a tight lens. But his beak is normal, filed down because he eats tons of snail shells. Now up here with these two puffers, which are now playing a little shy, maybe I can coax them out with some food or something. They do not eat snails for some reason. I don't know if it's because they got spoiled early on with other foods that don't require them to chomp down, or if it's just something to do with these puffers that I have. But you can see in here that there are a lot of snails in all different sizes. Tiny snails that they could easily fit to larger snails if they want a full meal, and everything in between. So there's a lot of snails in here, but for whatever reason, we can see a bunch there on the substrate, for whatever reason, they never took to eating snails. And so what I had to do is I would have to perform dental surgery. Now, I did make a video a couple of years ago showing the entire process. Yesterday, I filmed again. I might have some footage here kind of showing the process, but it's very nerve-wracking. You have to basically sedate your puffer, put it to sleep, and take it out of water, hold it in your hand, and cut its beak with some nail clippers. And that's what I did. And it looks scary. You're doing it. You think like, oh, did I kill the fish? Did I use too much clove oil to do the sedation? And I was kind of unsure, like, oh no, I hope I didn't kill my fish. And I had to do it for both of them. So this time it wasn't just one, it was both of them. Now one was worse than the other. And today's the next day, so it was successful. You can see them both swimming around there. I didn't go as short as I'd like to on cutting. I got a little bit I don't know, nervous. Like you're holding this little tiny fish in your hand and it's obviously still alive and you're cutting its beak with nail clippers. And yeah, you know, it's not the easiest thing to do as far as nerves are concerned. So I wanted to just cut enough to where I knew the teeth weren't going to be growing back into their face and stabbing them, or also blocking their ability to eat food. Now they eat plenty. They'll eat flake food, frozen food, you know, freeze-dried foods, the whole thing. But for some reason, they just don't eat these snails. Now, I tried like putting like oyster shells and crushed up stuff in like rapashi. None of it worked. So kind of where I am right now as I zoom back out is I don't know if that's something that I want to keep subjecting myself to. Now, if it's just a case where, you know, every 6 months I have to take these fish out and sedate them and cut their beaks, maybe. Or do I just let nature take its course, and then there's a snail falling down right there, probably fat and happy from eating algae, and you just ignored it. So I don't know if I'm gonna like let nature take its course. I know this is not nature, it's a glass box in a house, but yeah, I just don't know. It's a little bit frustrating though that you know, all other puffers that I've kept before are fine when it comes to keeping their beaks trimmed from eating hard shells, but for some reason these two little dudes do not. So anyway, that is my frustration of the week, my frustration of the month, I guess, as far as fish are concerned. But yeah, I wanted to share that with you. And you know, if you are thinking about getting an Amazon puffer, that might be something to think about. Just make sure from the very beginning that they're trained to eat snails and other crustaceans. You know, I even have like shrimp in here, like somewhere, like a mono shrimp, and you know, they did nothing. So yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead and walk around a little bit. Let me zoom back out and let's talk about my workspace. I do want to pop in real quick and address something, and that is, of course, the sponsor of today's video. And yes, it is my favorite t-shirt company, Into the AM. Now, they're not just a t-shirt company. They have lots of apparel, jeans and sweats and hats and hoodies and all those kind of things. But I very, very much love their t-shirts. They're perfect. Lots of great graphics, even just kind of plain tees, V-necks, the whole thing. Even the sweats that I'm wearing right now are Into the AM sweats. And for me, I love them. Great quality material, very comfortable. They're kind of like a fitted as far as sizing. So if you're looking at getting a shirt, I would say, depending on your build, maybe go up a size. This is a size large, but it's kind of more of like a fitted cut. So a little bit more snug in the areas that you want it to be snug in. But anyway, thank you to Into the AM for always being a great partner and sponsoring this video. You can see I've got the 3 monitors right now. Well, 2 monitors. I think when I made the video last time, I didn't have the second monitor. So what I did is I bought a larger monitor for up top. I think this is a 32-inch monitor, something like that. Obviously, I've got the screen on the MacBook. This is a 16-inch MacBook Pro. And then this is a 27-inch monitor. So lots of monitor space. It's been great. And yes, working down here has been exactly what I thought it would be. Obviously, you can see that I can host live streams down here with the mic set up and, you know, do podcasts and everything. And yeah, just really happy with how this is set up and how it's working. You can see like I didn't clean it up for today's video, which is kind of a messy desk, but this is how I work sometimes. We've seen all this stuff before. Normally the camera that I'm holding would sit right here. In fact, it would be something like this, or a camera would be sitting on the mount. Let's walk around the fish room and look at some different fish. Here we have the Tanganyikan tank. There's the Burchardi with the no tail. If you remember that story about this fish and how I decided to keep this one only because he doesn't have a tail. He's been very healthy and very, I don't know if he's happy or not, but very healthy over the past few years, and has grown up with no tail. He swims around fine, eats just fine, doesn't get outcompeted. Nothing really in here is bigger than him except for the Calvis, that guy right there. But overall, I love this tank. This is a 125-gallon aquarium, 6-foot tank. Got the nice background from universal rocks, along with the rocks and everything. Let's see, the gold ocelotus, a lot more activity in here recently. Doing well. Love these little guys. We got a couple random mbuna down there that are some tiny fry that are just growing out, that I'm waiting for them to get bigger so I can rehome them probably to the other tank at my wife's work. We've got the 90 cichlid tank. I ended up putting the 5-star general female in here, and she has been doing just fine. No one bugs her, and she just mingles with the other African cichlids, even though she's West African and they're East African. They're all just chilling together, and she's quite healthy and happy. The Psilocybe, never can say enough about these fish. Love this tank. At this time, probably one of my favorite cichlids, just because of the color dimorphism and the fact that they don't get too big. In fact, we now have the Psilocybe sticker at aquariumcoop.com. So part of my work is taking photos for our website sometimes, and here's the new sticker. So you can see that it is an exact match. So pretty awesome. Pretty awesome to be able to do that for work. Let's see. We talked about this tank. We showed you the puffer. We still have the top hat blenny, which is, peeking out just out of that little barnacle shell over there in the back. If I get close, it'll right there. If you see him sticking out his head, boop, right there. Kind of a fun little dude. In here, I ended up adding some of the mollies to the brackish tank, and they had some babies. And of course, we've got the Indian mudskippers in here, which are always a favorite. This tank, I'm actually going to put a bed in here. I put one of my goldfish in there for now to clean up all the duckweed. And there's no duckweed left. So I'm going to go ahead and put that goldfish back over here into this tank with his other buddy, his other goldfish buddy hiding over there in the back. And here we have the African mudskippers. They're awesome. Love these guys. Still trying to come up with a way of hiding this back corner. Let me turn the light on. Hiding this back corner and making it look less ugly. But yeah, kind of more behind the scenes. So, there's one more thing I want to show you. Let me unlock my computer here. All right, so I'm actually thinking about doing some live streams in the future. I know I haven't live streamed on this channel in a whole long time, but I got this new camera, and this is the same camera that Corey uses. It's a Insta360 camera that actually like moves around. So right now, so this is like the control center for the camera. So let me show you how the camera can move. So it's just kind of moving. It's on like a little mini gimbal. And so I thought that would be cool to kind of use as a live stream camera, because as I'm talking about something, we can move it around and talk about the fish while I'm still sitting here. So yeah, kind of a cool thing. So let me know down below in the comments if you think that a live stream would be something that you'd attend and join and want to watch. And if there's enough of you that are interested, that I might start doing them periodically. I can't say I'll do them every week, but once a month or so, do a live stream and hang out. Will be kind of fun. All right, Future Zenzo here. I just want to jump in because I got a tip from somebody on the forum. If you're not familiar with the forum, I'll put a link down below. It's basically the Aquarium Co-op forum where there's lots of people that are on there that have a lot of expertise or knowledge on a certain area, and we exchange information and pictures and all kinds of stuff. And I'm on there every day as well. But someone who's a puffer expert suggested that I give this a try. And what they're saying is to make some rapashi and put it on a rock. And the idea is a puffer will come with its beak, so pretend like this is the puffer beak, and they'll like pick at it to eat the food off of. And by doing this, they're scraping on the rock. And this is actually something that they said might happen in the wild with different types of foods that are attached to rocks, whether they're small crustaceans or other things that are on there, and they'll just grab them and kind of wear their teeth down that way. So I'm going to give this a try. I actually have some rapashi that I just had in the cupboard. I just opened it, so brand new package, not like it's been sitting around forever. I'm going to make some and I'll use it to feed other fish, which is why I have this little broken dish out here. But I'm gonna basically paint some on here, and to kind of trick the puffers, I'm gonna put some freeze-dried bloodworms and some of these wrigglers that Extreme sent me, because they kind of look like bloodworms. These are bloodworms, and maybe that will help to get them to kind of grab off the rock. So we're gonna give this a try. All right, so I have some Repashy mixed up here. If you're not familiar with Repashy, it's kind of like making Jello. So you apply like really hot water. So I've used a kettle here. You can use a microwave or whatever. And you basically make this paste, and as it cools, it will solidify. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of paint this on. And then as it cools down, it's gonna get hard on, not hard, but kind of like Jello, gelatin consistency. It'll get thick and hard, and yeah. So now we can see that I've painted this rock, whatever, plastered, pasted, whatever. I put a bunch of Repashy on here, put some bloodworms and some look-alike bloodworms on there to make it more enticing. If you're not familiar with Repashy, as I shared earlier, it turns into like gelatin. So here it's starting to cool down, still kind of warm to the touch, but you can see that this is just like a big glob of food now. So I could actually go take a piece and put it in a tank, and the fish will eat it just like that. So I actually am gonna throw some, probably put some in a cichlid tank. I'll put some in my Corydoras, and I'll probably feed the rest of my goldfish and koi. So let me go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back to this. All right, well, there we can see the rock with the food on it, but no activity yet. Now, this is the first time, so they're not used to having food there. So I'll come back in a couple of hours and see if it's working, if they're eating the food off of it. And it might be one of those situations, actually I did feed this tank earlier today, so it might be one of those situations where I don't give this tank any food except for on a Repashy rock, and maybe over the coming weeks they'll get used to it, and maybe eventually they will just get used to feeding off of the rock. Like we could see a stir-by there, like kind of figuring it out, but yeah, they probably don't know what's up yet. But there we have it. It's on a rock. We'll see what happens. It has been like a week or so since I've done the surgery, so I haven't finished editing the video yet, so you can see that Puffer's doing all right there, and the other one is, I just saw him a minute ago, oh, back there, so there and there. So recovered from their dental surgery, but we'll see if this is a fix that might work for us. It is the next day. There is the rock that had all the food on there. What do you know? There's a snail on there. All the food is gone, but I don't know like who ate it. So over the next few weeks, I'm just going to continue to make this like the feeding rock. I'll just take it out every day, make a little bit of Repashy, paint it on there. I'll try to do it maybe kind of thin. That kind of forces the fish to graze off this rock. And maybe that might be a solution for these puffers. But obviously it's not from a lack of snails, as there are a whole bunch of snails just kind of chilling out there, which makes me think that maybe they were grazing on this rock after the fish picked off the food. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this kind of a mini tour of the fish room and kind of what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. You know, the whole beak thing with the puffer, which was, yeah, it's just so nerve-wracking. I don't know how to explain it other than just imagine something that's like as delicate, or feels in your hand as delicate as like an egg yolk, or like maybe like a barely poached egg, and it's just like soft and you don't want to hurt it, and it's your pet, but then you have to take like some nail clippers and cut its teeth essentially. Very nerve-wracking, but anyway, successful so far. But if you have any other ideas besides the oyster shell or the chicken shell or the chicken bone stuff or whatever in Repashy, if you have any other ideas, I'd welcome those in the comments down below. Again, let me know if you think a live stream might be something that you would be interested in the future. Again, thank you to Into the AM. As always, check out the link down below to get yours, and we'll catch you on the next one.